Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Earthen's Den. And in today's episode, this is going to be a really quick episode. I just wanted to get on here and talk to you guys about running your own race. Now, if you know me, then you know that this place here, this is a safe space, right? It's a den, it's a safe haven. This is where we come to communicate in a way that's loving. You know, I want to share love. I want to share light. And what I noticed about a lot of people is people are like, oh my God, you need to be consistent. You need to be blah, blah, blah. Child, let me tell you, honey, it took a minute. Honestly, it took a minute for me to figure out what is it that I want to do. I just finally hit an idea in my life where I want to pursue it for the next 5 years. Do you see what I'm saying? It's been a minute. It has been a minute. It took a minute for me to find that. And I think sometimes, you know, of course, social media creates these unrealistic expectations, but I also think that this is a narrative that's not really shared often. Like, it takes a minute for you to find something that you love, something that's worth committing to, right? Not every idea you should be sticking to. Not every idea you should be sticking to for the next 1 to 2 years, because some ideas are a waste of time. I'm just going to be honest. Some stuff is a waste of time. Some stuff, you try it, you don't like it. It's not really lucrative. It's not really, you know what I mean? You may love it today, but it may not be something you should be pursuing today, right? It may not be something that is going to get you to where you need to be within the next 3 years. So you may have to put that idea on hold and come back to it, or it may be a little bit bigger than you thought. So it's something you can work on simultaneously while working on something else that can bring forth some fruit in the next season. You know what I mean? So I just think at the end of the day, you guys, when it comes to being consistent, it's about finding something that you love to do. And that takes time. Honestly, that takes time. When you don't go to a university and this is the thing too, you guys, like, everybody's going to be speaking from their experience. So to me, when I get online and I see people who, you know, are giving financial advice or saying people aren't being consistent, or, you know, just all of this rhetoric, you have to understand people. Like, I think I try to come from a realistic, like, real world, relatable sense with this podcast. Like, and I've always kind of been in that space with everything that I do. Like, it's so important for me to just be in a space where it's like, I am relatable, and I'm being relatable in regards to the opinions that I share with my podcasters, you know, I mean, with my listeners, because I just don't think that that's a standpoint that's out there. You know what I mean? Not every person is financially undisciplined. You know, some people work regular jobs where you're making like $16 an hour. You know what I mean? I didn't even know it at the time, but, like, you know, for some people making 21, making, you know, $18 an hour, that was a lot of money. They had never made anything more than that, you know, and depending on your background, depending on your education, like, those jobs aren't, you know, dime a dozen, you know what I mean? And so if you have bills, if you have families, like, there is just a lot of factors that go into that. So my thing was always this, like, when it comes to saving money, I think that's the worst advice that people give poor people, because, you know, when you're poor, you don't have anything to save. Girl, what? Like, what am I saving? You know, my thing was always, if you're poor, look into ways to create more income for yourself. So my thing was always looking to make more money. You know what I mean? How can I take this little 600 here and invest that into something that can, you know, be a return? Like I said, don't feel bad if you started a boutique or something like that and you're like, man, I'm not doing it this year. Like, or I feel like I fell off the wagon. Like, you have to give yourself time to try things, okay? You have to give yourself time to try things. You have to give yourself time to fail. You have to give yourself time to course correct. Like, girl, there is, you know, well, I mostly have women listening to my podcast, but, you know, there are so many different things that go into that. So don't feel bad. I feel like I said, for me, I'm going to be 25 this year. This is the first year where I've come into a space in my life where I'm like, okay, I'm going to pursue this, and I'm going to pursue it relentlessly. I'm going to pursue this, and I'm going to pursue it in such a way to where it's like, it makes sense for me. I know I want to do this for the next 5 years of my life. Do you see what I'm saying? But it took a minute for me to get here. Like, it took a minute. Every idea and I've been hustling since I was young. You know what I mean? Like, ever since, girl, 17, I've been hustling. You know, I was on a blog. I thought I was going to do the blog style. I did have podcasts. And even still, it's like, this is just fun to me. It's just recreational. Like, I don't really care to, you know, monetize, even though it is monetized, you know, it's enough for me. Like, essentially, I'm not trying to push an agenda. I don't really care to have a talk show, you know, even though I'm open to the idea. I love conversation. I love sharing what it is that I know. That's not something that you know what I mean? Like, my podcast, I enjoy it. You know, I have fun. I do it because I love it. So, you know, it's important to also have things like that in your life as well, to where it's like you do things because you love it, and you can be consistent with the things that you love because obviously you love it. Sometimes, trying to monetize every little thing in your life, like I think it's important. It's kind of like work and play, you know what I mean? It's kind of like having that balance, like make sure that, you're in a space in your life where you have your friends and then you have your work life. I think life can be so serious, right? We're all out here trying to make it. We're all out here doing the best that we can. So, it's nice to have avenues and mediums where we're just doing things for fun. It's nice to just have friends. It's nice to just have conversations, not about work, not about business, and not be so serious. Everybody's trying to get their money right, but just do what works for you and learn as you go. You know what I mean? I think it's good to pick up on some tips and some things like that, but you got to do what works for you in your life. I've seen a lot of people who are sitting on money, and it's not really a matter of them like saving for something. Don't get me wrong, yes, you should have your savings account, but I just think for myself, it's like everybody has a different mindset around money. And if you've been listening to this podcast, you know that my mindset is very abundant in regards to money. I don't have a scarcity mindset in regards to money. So for myself, I'm very secure with money and in my financial situation. I'm secure with earning. I'm secure with spending, meeting my emotional needs. I'm reading in this book about learning from women with money. Like, it's different for everybody. But I was going to reference how, sometimes people are saving and you should be taking that money and trying to invest it in something. But some people are saving out of like a little, kind of like a fear mindset, kind of like, so it's not really benefiting you because it's like, you're not, you know what I mean? You're not investing, you're not doing something with your money to where you can grow it. So, but whatever works for you, I think, you have to be in a space in your life where what works for you, right? You have to know, like, how much money makes me feel secure in the bank, how much, save makes me feel secure, how much, you know what I mean? So it's just, it's all about what works for you at the end of the day. But the biggest thing for today's episode was when it comes to consistency, you have to give yourself time to find something that's worth being consistent. You have to give yourself time to try all of your stupid ideas before you hit the next one, the big one, the one that you want to pursue for the next 5 years. Everything is not going to be pursued for the next 5 years. And even the ideas that you do have, it's okay to course correct, you guys. Like I said, I've had some really, really good ideas, some things that I wanted to do before, but I didn't have the marketing. I didn't know, like I literally wrote down a list of my skills, my strengths and my weaknesses. And I realized that, when it came to certain like factors, social media, marketing, things like that, those were not my strengths. So there were certain ideas that I had pursued in the past to where it was like, it was never going to be what I thought it was going to be, just because I don't necessarily have the skill set to make it what it was then, right? And I didn't have the money to make it what it was then. So at the end of the day, you guys, just understand where you're at with things. And again, last but not least, give yourself time to find something that's worth committing to. Not every idea is going to be for you to be consistent. And I think sometimes that alone, like, will make you want to give up. And you got to give yourself credit for the areas in which you're consistent in your life. Like, if you wake up every morning and you meditate, it's very evident that you have discipline. You know what I mean? I think when it comes to meditation, especially, that's a huge component of discipline. I think that's a great way to train your brain to have discipline. And then I think too, when it comes to discipline, just understand this. I think if you could tell yourself, like, hey, I want to get stronger in some areas, but also being mindful of, like, the narrative that you're telling yourself. Because I think the moment you start telling yourself, oh, I'm not disciplined, I'm not consistent, then that's going to be the fruit of your labor. Like, you're going to, you know what I mean? Like, those words, you're breathing life over that. And so I think you got to look at areas in your life where you are consistent, where you are disciplined. If you get up and go to that 9 to 5 every day, girl, you're consistent. You're consistent, you're disciplined, you're showing up. Like, you know what I mean? So just understand that. And I think if you could look at yourself in a positive light, you can start to transpire that into other areas of your life, and it can be better for you. It'll be better for you. You know what I mean? Like, my biggest thing is, first of all, when it came to my success, if you've been listening to me, honey, if you've been following my journey, everyone knows that, my biggest thing was that I always wanted to be right within myself. I knew I would never be perfect. Like, it was never a matter of perfection for me, but I was so heavy on my personal development and self-improvement because I said once I got success, I've told myself, like, and it's no offense. I'm not shading anybody and I'm not saying this to be cocky, but like, I wanted to enjoy the fruits of my labor. I didn't want to be dealing with suicide and depression. And I had to face them demons, honey. I had to face, and I don't even want to say demons. I just had to face that darkness. You know what I mean? Because we all got light and darkness in us. It's a light world. It's beautiful out there. There's light in the world, but there's a lot of darkness in the world. So it's like, I had to overcome those things. I wanted to overcome those things because when it came to how hard I worked, you know what I mean? I knew I was hardworking. Girl, I've been working since I was 16. Girl, it's been a journey. You know what I mean? And so for myself, it was like, I'm going to get right within myself because I want to win. Like I really want to win, and I want to be fruitful, and I want to just enjoy my life, you know? So my journey was different. And I think that it's important to have your own race, and it's important to run your own race. So understand when it comes to a lot of advice out here, there's nothing wrong with you. You gotta look at things and start applying them in a way that's applicable to you, right? Like, you know, if you listen to someone and it's like, hey, these are the 5 traits of this successful person, consider yourself the successful person. Girl, I'm always in there like, all right, yep, that I take that on. You know what I mean? I don't look at that like, dang, I don't possess those things. In my mind, I'm like, well, I'm already successful. So if those are the 5 traits, then I'm going to own that. And then I'm going to live out that. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to apply that. Like, I just think mindset is important. And like I said, give yourself time to find something that's worth committing to in regards to your consistency. Not every idea is going to be pursued for a year. Not every idea should be pursued for 6 months. Sometimes you got to go back to the drawing board like, yo, that first job was whack. Like, it was whack. I don't have the money right now. I need to go to work, get the second job, save up for this. I need to figure out what I need to do with this. I need to take a course in that. Like, you see what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to just redirect everything you're doing and just like shift gears, but it doesn't necessarily mean give up, and it doesn't necessarily mean that every idea is going to be pursued. You may go back to the drawing board and be like, you know what, it's not this I'm going to pursue, it's this. It took a minute. Like I said, for myself, you know, it took a minute for me to finally hit on a good idea. Like, I've pursued a lot of stupid ones, you know, and I can't even really say they were stupid. I didn't know what I didn't know. They were amateur, rookie, you know what I mean, fun ideas that just, I realized like it took a minute for me to get a mentor and be in a space where I'm like, okay, you know what, these are the ideas, these are the things I want to pursue for my life for the next 5 years. And I think that this is going to be a good return, right, on my investment. And I want to commit to this, you know, but it took a minute. So give yourself time. Not everybody is in that space. I know people have to work. My journey has been crazy. Like, I've definitely had gaps in my employment where I took time to really sit and cultivate certain things, and even within myself, you know, personal development, as well as, you know, just all these other ideas, you know. Then on top of that, I am an avid reader. So, you know, you guys, you got to just give yourself time. I think that's my biggest thing. Give yourself time. I feel like social media kind of has everybody on a one track thing, and that it doesn't work that way, you know. So give yourself time, and be true to you, be authentic. Like, if you are in a space right now in your life where you just want to live in life and have fun, you may have just came out of a season of depression, or you may have just gone through some family stuff. Like, I understand life. You know what I mean? Everybody is not out here trying to hustle. Some people are just trying to catch their breath. Okay. Some people are just trying to breathe. Okay. Some people are just trying to live life in such a way. So I understand that as well. And that's why it's like, you know, it's important for me to come on here and again, provide comfort and solace and insight for artists and entrepreneurs, because I understand the narrative. Trust me, I'm living it. So I hope that this episode was beneficial. I hope that this was insightful. I hope that it was inspiring, to just let you guys know to, like, you know, gauge and, you know, run your own race, change gears when you're ready to shift gears. This is your stick shift. You get to, you know, navigate this bad boy. You get to turn it up, turn it left, turn it right, slow it down. Okay. And when it comes to consistency, you got to find something that's worth being consistent to, and you have to give yourself time. You know, I'll give another example, working out. I didn't know it at the time, but my version of working out, I like workout classes. You know, I like doing things like yoga and Pilates, and I like running, but I don't like going to the gym. But it doesn't mean that I don't like working out. That doesn't mean that I'm not consistent with working out. I love working out. I just don't like it in that medium. I didn't know that. So you see what I'm saying? I had to course correct, but it doesn't mean that I'm lazy, I'm undisciplined, and I'm just X, Y, and Z. No, I had to find what worked for me. You know what I mean? So that's the whole purpose of this episode, and that's my message to you guys. And I just hope that it reaches who it's supposed to reach, and I hope that, you know, it brings you like some exhale, you know, and is good. So, okay. That's all I wanted to say, and I hope everybody has an amazing day.